How about now? We press the right buttons. Thought I clicked that button. Should be better now. I hit the button. There. It's only been 9 months. You think we get the shit figured out, but not just yet. Anyway, as I was saying, welcome to the show. Bill Michaels joins us at 5:10. We're talking about the Packers. We are going to talk a little bit about the Brewers, but we'll focus on tonight's game, Monday Night Football. Packers, Lions, Lambeau Field. Let's get to this. The big unit. Unit Moss. Cooperville Clothing, the Legends line dropped on Friday. We got the tee, we got the long sleeve. C-Dubs, what's up? And we got that hoodie. Check it out at CoopervilleClothing.com. Another drop coming out on Friday. We're rolling things out. Big time in it. If you live legendary, you need to explain that to those who are around you. CoopervilleClothing.com for the Legends line. And the tacos. Who doesn't love the tacos? Whole bunch of stuff. It's really endless. CoopervilleClothing.com. And for the bearded ones in your life, CaptainCoops.com. Beard oils, beard balms, beard butters, and coming soon, even more products. We're going to expand our scent profiles. We are going to be adding some stuff for the females. It's growing immensely. So check out CaptainCoops.com for all of your beard needs and wants. It's going to be dry out, so it's the time you really got to start to really focus on keeping your beard hydrated. I speak from experience. I know these things. Going to be a little moist out there in a little bit. Yeah, I could feel it. I like those little sprinkles, but it's still like a little humid. Like it's sticky down here. Usually down in the cave, there's a chill in the air, but I can feel the air is thick. It's a thick one. But this is the transition, Joe. This is the time of year. You had your 90 degrees yesterday, and then you're going to get the transitional day today with the warmer temps and then the storms and the humidity, and then we are going to be full-blown into fall. Had to put the AC on. I wanted to. I looked at the thermostat yesterday when we were doing something around the house, and I was like, it's 84 degrees in here. Like you turn the fan on, it just blows hot air. I wasn't a fan. I was not a fan. Get it? A fan. We didn't even really have one of those cool nights. Like that's ideal sleeping weather. You start to get into those like 50, low 50s, upper 40 degree nights. Man, we put the fan in the window and I'm out. Like I'm out like a rock. There's no waking up in the middle of the night, being all sweaty. I curl up like fetal style under the blanket. Just breathe in the cold air. That's the good stuff right there. Ready for a little frosty nights. Me too, man. Now, I said it on Sunday. I was like, I'm going to miss the summer sun, right? But fall up here definitely has its benefits. Super does. Cool nights. It's perfectly nice for bonfires and stuff like that. And if it's crappy out, you don't feel bad about sitting inside on a Monday night and watching a football game. You're like, all right, I guess this is life. Do you want to give you all a heads up? Started the new station launched on Friday, 96.9 Highway 111 Country out of Cookville, Tennessee. So started broadcasting, doing afternoons down there on Friday. So this is technically day 2, which is pretty rad. I'm not moving to Tennessee. In case anybody was wondering, I've had people ask like, "Oh my gosh, you're moving to Tennessee?" I'm like, nope. I'm gonna be in the digs, doing the show from up here. But it's a super cool experience and a really cool radio station. Like it's the music that like was a part of that influential childhood stage. Like the '90s country. It's based all in '90s country. They dabble into the 2000s a little bit, and there's some earlier stuff too, which is great. But really like hardcore into that '90s country. And I'm like, I'm looking at the playlist and I'm like, this is rad. Like this station was here. Like I'd run the thing. Let's make this awesome. So that's super cool. If you want to check it out, 111country.com. I know we stream live 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on the interweb, so you can check it out. And I'm on there 3 until 7. So that's pretty cool. Like, I'm on there right now, but I'm here, which is weird, which is super weird. What else is going on? The Emmy Awards were last night. We did not watch the Emmy Awards last night. We, due to a recommendation, we watched Willy's Wonderland. Now, I love Nick Cage. I'm a Nick Cage fan. You know, all the things. He was married to Elvis's granddaughter. Or not granddaughter. Daughter? Anyway, I digress. But it's a Nick Cage movie. And I was like, I never heard of it, but I'm not really tapped into the new movie stuff. Obviously, the Marvel things and anything Star Wars based, I'm all over. But like, it wasn't on my radar. And I'm like, cool, well, Nick Cage is in it. It's got to be halfway decent. It was not. You know what? I shouldn't say it. Go watch it. Go watch Willy's Wonderland. And you won't thank me later. You'll be like, why did I listen to him? And it's more like passing along this torch of like, this is really bad, but we need to share it. It's like when something stinks and you're like, smell this. Or, ow, that hurt. You do it. It's kind of like that. Like, I feel like we all need to be a part of it. So go to I think it was on Amazon Prime. Maybe it was on Netflix. No, I think it was on Prime. Look up Willy's Wonderland and watch it. Nick Cage has 0 lines in the movie. Not one. He makes some grunting noises, but that's it. He does not speak. The other characters speak in the movie. There are demon-possessed animatronics that talk, but Nick Cage, 0 words. His character doesn't even have a name in the movie. I was discussing this with Nick. I'm like, do you think the other actors and actresses, like, didn't even read the script? They were like, we're doing a movie with Nick Cage. Like, this is going to be rad. Wait, what? We're fighting off what? It's like Chuck E. Cheese. If you remember Chuck E. Cheese from your childhood, because there was one around here when I was growing up, but that has long since been gone. It's like if Chuck E. Cheese was possessed by the devil and all the fake things came to life and, like, tried to massacre a small town. That's basically the gist of it. Nick Cage, 0 lines in the whole movie. Just grunts and groans, and he drinks a soda every hour. Like, you think there's going to be a point to that. Like, oh, yeah, they're going to explain why he drinks a soda every hour. And they don't. They don't. It's just weird. So, I really had no interest in watching the Emmy Awards last night. It's not really something I get into. Red carpet shows. It's not really my jam. I feel like I would be very judgmental. But it's like, oh, let's watch a scary movie tonight. I'm like, yeah. Do you want to watch like a retro one, like the original Halloween or Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street? Like, get into some old school stuff, and then you watch it again. You're like, yeah, it wasn't that scary. No, a friend of mine said we should watch Willy's Wonderland. Okay. Nicolas Cage in it. Cool. And there were several times I looked over at her and I'm like, oh, are we committed to this? But when you get so far and you're like, now we just got to see how far off the rails does this show go? And off the rails it went. Like, legit, not even joking. We got Joe. Muskie fishing is going to start. Yeah. Oh, getting good now. Yeah. Got those cool nights, man. It's going to be good. It's going to be bueno. What do we even have for 55 tonight? You know, I'll take that. Once the storms and stuff roll through, like, what does even the radar look like? Let's pull up the radar and just take a little peek-see. Take a look. Ooh, severe thunderstorm watch. Dun, dun, dun. Getting close. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's pretty. And guess what that's going to do? That's going to roll all the way over into Green Bay tonight. So we'll see. Tornado warning to the south. Interesting. It's like, how will it affect the game tonight? That's my question. We need the rain. But the last thing I want to do is be up until 1 o'clock in the morning watching the game. It's not because I'm old. It's just because. Very excited to have my buddy Bill Michaels back on the show. I was always love having his insight and his 2 cents and his wisdom. He continues to pass along. Bill, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
You know, we're just we're living the dream. We've made the transition into fall, which means football season is here. I'm not sure if it's a blessing or a curse, and I imagine in your industry when you always have topics for discussion, you never have to reach for like, oh, I guess we'll talk about. Oh, look, in Green Bay and the surrounding areas in the state of Wisconsin throughout the course of the offseason, we always had things to talk about. And then we had football that started. And wow, do we have more to talk about?
It's the way football goes is when things are good, things are great. When things are bad, things are great. And when things are mediocre, things are questionable and people can yawn. As long as the Packers have a shot at making the postseason, life is good. It's what you don't want is for them to go, say, 2-6 in the first 8 games and people's, kind of thought process to start to wane a little bit and move in other directions. But put it this way, years ago, during the very first George W. Bush presidential election, and even so when Obama was elected, a friend of mine runs a marketing firm in the state of Wisconsin. I've told this story 1,000 times. And the candidates, all the candidates that were coming to Wisconsin or those supporters thereof, wanted to know what the hot button issues were in the state of Wisconsin. And over education, over unemployment, over healthcare, over taxes, you name it, the number one catchphrase was Packers. So every candidate, whether it was talking about Lombardi, Lambeau Field, Bart Starr, Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre, Reggie White, whatever, every candidate had something about the Packers in their speech. That's how big football is in the state of Wisconsin.
And we get to have that continuation when you have it was drama. I mean, there was a lot of offseason drama that Packer fans had to deal with, and I feel like, the Brett Favre thing that we went through many years ago, and that drama was a different animal. I think you would agree. It wasn't the same. He retired. I remember watching that coming home from work one day, and I'm like, this is when dudes can cry, and it's okay. When a legend, like when Gretzky retired and when Jordan retired and when Favre retired, everybody was like, it's okay, man. Like you can cry then. I remember watching that, and then obviously the offseason drama that ensued with him flying back into Green Bay, all this stuff. But this offseason was the fan base seemed really divided. There was Team Aaron, let him he's the MVP, let him run the show. And then there's the people that are like, well, I am a Packer fan first and an Aaron Rodgers fan second. The organization knows best, and they're going to run the organization the way they want to. Now, obviously, all that drama gets semi-cleared up. He reports for training camp. We go through the preseason. There's, a little bit of talk here and there. The man bun comes out, and everybody's like, what is happening here? Like other off seasons, he would have the long hair, but it would kind of flow. He had kind of this, Southern California guy thing going on. But everybody kind of had a feeling, okay, Aaron Rodgers is back in camp. They're going to let Jordan Love play the preseason, which is good for a multitude of reasons. You want other teams to be able to see what he can or can't do on the football field. But you got your guy. You got number 12. You got a receiving core that seemed very enthusiastic. Devontae Adams saying this is the hungriest team that he's ever seen before, which is a pretty bold statement considering the teams that he's been a part of. And then you have week 1. You're down in Jacksonville. Packer fans travel so well. That stadium was majority Packer fans. You felt like it was a home game away, and we saw what we saw on the field. Minus, as you put, minus the punting game, which, hey, we're cool with that. Like everything else looked like there was a lot of question marks. Your takeaways from week 1, what you saw on the field, and why you think it ended up the outcome that it did.
A couple of things, and I go back more to training camp because I thought Aaron Rodgers' comments after the game were interesting, talking about the level of energy and it felt San Diego-ish, so to speak. What I looked at was, and Eric Branchek on our show said it too, it seemed like there was the anxiety of will there or will there not be Aaron?
Hmm.
And then until 2 days before training camp, we didn't know. And then Aaron announced he was coming back. And it seemed like we spent so much time in the offseason with there's people that like Aaron because he's a great quarterback. There's people that like Aaron because he replaced Brett Favre. There's people that don't like Aaron because he replaced Brett Favre. And there's people that don't like Aaron because he's two fingers of scotch and he's not a beer and brats guy and he's a California cool guy. So there's all those factions. So the people that realize this is the best chance for you to win thought, okay, maybe another shot at this before it's all said and done, coming off of back-to-back NFC championship games. But there was so much time spent in the offseason for those that wanted Aaron back, those outside and inside of the organization. And what I considered it to be kind of we're going to kiss his ass and do whatever we need to do to get this guy into camp just to have another legitimate shot at winning the Super Bowl. That when he came back, it was like a party. Matt LaFleur flew there, brought him the best bourbons and scotches and did anything and everything because he knows his success is tied to Aaron Rodgers. Brian Gutekunst to Mark Murphy. Mark Murphy's famous quote, will Aaron Rodgers be there next year? Murphy says, what do you think, we're idiots? So he can't go out and publicly say, no, we don't need this guy, so we're going to get rid of him. And so otherwise they would look stupid. Obviously, there was a lot of information floating around out there about Aaron's feelings, and Aaron never spoke to it for numerous reasons. So when he got back into camp, it felt like, okay, just show up and Aaron Rodgers is going to lead him to a championship. And I think that was kind of the mentality and the attitude that was placed by Aaron Rodgers, and it trickled down to the rest of the team, including the coaching staff. And what I think, I mean, we can go into a lot of different reasons as to why, but I think that when I watch Tom Brady, and I hate to bring Brady up as the example, but let's be honest, he is. Yep. When I watch Brady get his guys together a week before an OTA or a minicamp, and Aaron Rodgers at the same time as in Hawaii, two different types of leadership. When I watch Brady this past weekend after his press conference say, I screwed up. He won, threw 4 touchdown passes. I screwed up. I need to get better. And I missed Antonio Brown on 3 straight outs. This is on me. And you'd have thought they lost. Yeah. Where Aaron, as many have pointed out, doesn't really take responsibility for a lot of the things that he will do wrong, or at least take the bullet for mistakes that his guys have made. So and when he said in that interview with Aaron Andrews, yeah, I've done everything. I don't have anything left to prove. And I've done everything I've ever wanted to do. It sounds like a guy that's kind of checking out. He's now sitting on top of the mountain looking down on everybody else. So now we wait and see if the great big hand of the football gods smacked that team and Aaron hard enough to say, wake the hell up. You've got some problems here. And if you don't correct them right here and right now, this team could possibly, and this season could possibly be in trouble.
It feels like at one point, Aaron was a big legacy guy. He was big on, I want to be the greatest Packer quarterback ever. Obviously he's always been in the GOAT discussion with Tom Brady. That after that press conference that you talked about, it certainly didn't feel like a guy who's holding on for his legacy to get number 2, to move up, in all of the appropriate categories in order to become considered the greatest of all time. And the way he carries himself, obviously, you mentioned the differences between how Tom Brady does it, obviously coming off of 2 very, very good games, 2 victories for the defending NFL champions. But there is just something about the demeanor. When he came out of the press conference after the game against the Saints, the memes were great. I mean, you got to thank Aaron Rodgers for at least, hey, thank you for at least a full week of coverage of people going, does this guy steal catalytic converters? I mean, they were nonstop. I was like, this is great. Like the hair, the look, but he's got that RELAX kind of thing. Like, it's one game, and I get that, and you get that. It's one game. We don't base a 17-game season on one game. But there was just so many times when you're like, well, it's Aaron Rodgers, and they're going to put some points on the board. They're going to sustain a drive. He's not going to throw. He's going to throw another interception. There was just things about it. The way the defense played as well. There were so many question marks when he came out of that game. A lot of fans, I think, have this, wait, this is the team that just went to 2 back-to-back NFC championship games, was a couple of plays away from being in the Super Bowl. What is this product they put on the field? And now there's that carryover into, you have a Monday Night Football game. You're back home at Lambeau with fans, which I know is a topic that you touched on today,
Right.
that all the players throughout the course of last season, until they started bringing fans back slowly, were like, man, we miss the fans in here, especially at Lambeau Field, a place that gets raucous. You have all of those elements now. You laid an egg last week. There is no excuses for an energy level lack tonight.
No, and I agree. I look at this game as your backs are against the wall. You've got to come out and play better. I went through the dissertation today. They brought everybody back. You obviously lost your starting center. You replace him with Josh Myers. You lose Bakhtiari. You replace him with Elkin Jenkins. Yes, the offensive line did not play great, but they didn't play terribly either. You bring back Aaron Jones. You got what everybody thought was a better running back in A.J. Dillon. You brought in Randall Cobb. That was the guy that Aaron Rodgers pined for. You drafted a true slot receiver. I mean, this offense should have flowed. There's no I mean, last year they got up to a fast start. They put up 40 points against Minnesota. The year before that, they put up more than 30 points. Why did this offense stutter and flutter so poorly? And the only thing you look at is that the engineer is not running the train right. And the one thing that I noticed in that game, and I brought it up today on the show, was Aaron Rodgers was slow. And it's not that he doesn't have the platform to throw, because he does, but he was slow. And so you wonder if, one, the cleansing and the losing of the weight lost muscle mass, lost that, I don't know how to put it specifically, but that stamina, that football stamina to carry yourself. And then the fact that, normally last offseason, he said he never worked his legs as hard, even going back into college, as he did last offseason, getting himself prepared, because he knew at the age of 35 or older, the first thing to go are your legs. And if you don't have legs, you're not going to be able to play quarterback. I noticed he was a step slow. I noticed Aaron Jones was, but Aaron Jones is nursing a hamstring injury that he had going back in the beginning of training camp. So I just wonder how going back to Brady, and I hate to bring it up again, but Brady said yesterday, continuing to play myself into playing shape. Maybe Aaron Rodgers needs to play himself into playing shape. We'll wait and see. Tonight I'm not on the ledge like many people. I'm not ready to leap off the cliff and jump into the pond, the whole thing. But tonight is not a win, but a must play a lot better game. Not a must win, but a must play a lot better game for this team. And if we don't see that, then I'm not throwing the season in by any stretch, but I'm going to question what the hell happened in Green Bay from the time last year to the time we stand at now, when we last saw this group on this same field. What's gone so horrifically wrong that this is where they're starting out? And the other aspect of that we didn't even talk about was Sean Payton saying he knew Joe Barry's tendencies as a defensive coordinator, what he was going to call. If that's Joe Barry's best in game one, then it's going to be a long season. And now you lose your best pass rusher in Zadarius Smith to the IR. Holy crap. It went from being really, really optimistic. If they don't win tonight, it could be really, really scary.
Who needs to step up? We talked about Z being out on the IR for an indefinite period of time at this point. Who needs to step up? Is it Rashawn Gary's time to shine? I know he made major leaps in improvement last year. A guy who was really not even highly touted. A lot of question marks around getting him at the position in the draft that they did, obviously with that shoulder injury. Big improvement from last year. Is he the guy that steps up in this position with Z out?
I think he does. I think Preston Smith needs to also kind of do what he was doing a couple of years ago. But then again, it feeds off of Zadarius. So that's why Rashawn Gary is so key. But I'd go a step further. I'd go interior. If you don't see something out of Dean Lowry, if Slayton isn't and it's going to take Slayton a little while, but if he isn't the guy that you thought he was to add depth on that defensive line, you're in trouble, because Kenny Clark is the only guy that's a true run stuffer. He's the only guy that cuts off cutback lanes. He's the only guy that can handle and stymie a double team. Tyler Lancaster, God love him, huge heart. He's a work dog, but he's just a guy. But Dean Lowry's got paid to be a much better player than what we've seen, specifically going back to last year. So Dean Lowry, to me, this is his bubble or bust year. He's either going to balloon up and say, okay, I'm going to earn the money, or this is going to be just money that you've thrown down the toilet to a very average guy.
I want to talk about Detroit for a little bit. Jamal Williams, who was a fan favorite in Green Bay, had a great quote this week comparing the Packers to an ex-girlfriend and the Lions to the rebound. I mean, we all know how the rebound chick goes, but that he seems like a guy who has that smile was always infectious. Obviously, the dancing was obviously infectious. It seemed to bleed over into the team in Green Bay last year. How does that? He was a fan guy, and I can see fans, rooting for him. Do you think he has, a decent night tonight, being back in Green Bay and kind of wanting to be that? It's almost like hey, look at the girl I'm with now. Hey, what do you think about her?
He is going to run like he's never run before.
Hmm.
He's going to run hard, not just to prove to everybody that he's a good running back, but also his guys across the way. I mean, Aaron Jones and him. I'll never forget sitting in San Francisco, or excuse me, in Phoenix, and those two guys are walking through at Super Bowl with Lee Steinberg, who was their agent at the time, and Lee says, "Hey, you may want to interview these guys." And I'm thinking, I don't really think I need to, but okay, I know Lee. Lee kind of gives you a wink and a nod. You pay
Right.
attention, and not one, but both of them are then drafted. Well, they went through the workouts together. They had the same agent. They went to the same clubs. They went to the same. I mean, their parents were hanging out with one another. These two guys are almost like brothers. And so he's got his brother across the way tonight. So you're going to see him run a little bit extra hard. So at the end of the game, those two can compare notes. But also remember, he knows where the Packers' weaknesses are. He knows what Dean Lowry can and can't do. He knows what Preston Smith can and can't do. So he's going to give you a little extra juice tonight, a little extra pop. And if it gets chippy, it wouldn't surprise me at all because that's the kind of guy he is. But they better be ready. I mean, the Packers better be ready to stop a guy that runs with high knees north-south and can run like a freight train. And their run-stuffing defense was nothing to write home about without guys not setting the edge. Za'Darius obviously couldn't run last week. He looked awful almost. Yeah. But they got to be able to set the edge, keep him in the middle, and allow Kenny Clark to do his thing. And hopefully you get something out of Devondre Campbell and Chris Barnes in the middle linebacking core, too, to be able to stop the run. Or if he gets into the secondary, he'll run people over.
He will. And we saw that when he was in a Packer uniform the last couple of years. I want to get you out of here. I'm going to ask one Brewers question after this, but I'll get you a Packer talk after, done with this one. I know this isn't the make or break game. You're not on the edge. Fans tend to be a little more on the edge than everybody who has that understanding that this is a long season and things can turn around. Making the playoffs, you don't have to be 13-3 like you were the last couple of years. But how does this game have to turn out for you to feel 100% confident in this team moving forward? Like week one was a fluke. That was just, whether it was the travel, whether it was the heat. I mean, that was the big commentary, from Joe and Troy was, it must be it's so hot down here.
Right.
Like, it does get hot in Wisconsin too, just in case they forgot. But
right.
What is it going to take for you to watch this game tonight and tomorrow be on the show and say, I have confidence in this team, offensive, defensively, punching game we got figured out?
I would say, you know what? You put up 27 or more points. You look fluid. You don't turn the ball over. The run game gets established. You win time of possession. To me, would be solid. You keep them less than 37% when it comes to third down average defensively. I'd be happy with that. It's not going to be where they have a great third down percentage, but 5 out of 7 drives they allow touchdowns. So that might not necessarily sit too well. But just look better, fundamentally look better. And then I'll say, okay, they put the train back on the track and obviously get a win. But, if I'm going to pick it, I'd probably say Packers 27-13, 27-17, something like that. Nothing, it's not going to be a blowout.
Right.
Somebody offered me today 21 points. I said, man, I'll take the Lions and 21 points all day long. Did you see what the Packers put up down there in Jacksonville? So that's kind of the area that I would go in this. To at least make me feel better about the direction in which the team's going. Now, if this ends up being a 19-17 shootout and it takes, Mason Crosby field goal to win it, then I'm going to really be bothered by all of this because that means to me that the offense, maybe barring turnovers, is not back on track yet. So, so we'll see. But that's kind of a comfortable win. Anything beyond that is icing on the cake.
Awesome. Brewers, obviously, we've been blessed in the state of Wisconsin this year with the Brewers playing exceptionally well throughout the course of the season. Obviously, it was the 2-month anniversary today of the Bucks winning the NBA championship. But Brewers, we're getting through the middle part of September, which means October baseball is just around the corner. Give me your 2 cents on Milwaukee. How you feel going forward with the rest of the season into the postseason?
I think they can win it all. And I don't say that lightly because I've never said that about a Brewers team before. I've always had skepticism because you could see holes. The holes here are not deep. The holes here are like blemishes, because you always have a bat that's going to pick you up. Somebody's always come up with a big hit. Vogelbach, role player, or a guy like Adames since he came over, or even Christian Yelich who's hitting the hell out of the ball now. And the fact that their pitching staff is 3, 4, 5 deep. We don't even talk about Eric Lauer.
Right.
Eric Lauer has been unbelievably solid. And over the course of the last 2 months has only had 1 or 2 poor outings. For the most part, he's been really, really good. And nobody talks about the guy. So it's always about Burns and Woodruff and Peralta. And Peralta getting that extra pitch has been really strong. So when you've got 3 guys in the rotation, any one of which can stop the bleeding at any point in time and get you a win, That's saying something. Then you throw in the fact that you're going to get that bullpen that's probably going to get an extra starter. So you got a built-in middle reliever, and you got one of the best back ends of the bullpen in all of baseball. You got to feel good about your pitching. Now it's just whether or not you can collect enough hits, plate enough runs, and you're good to go. But if you look at the West, everybody talks about the West and the Giants and the Dodgers and the Padres. They beat the hell out of Arizona. They beat the hell out of the Padres. They beat the hell and won the war against the Giants, and they've beaten the Dodgers. I'm not afraid of the West. I think this is the best team in the National League by far. What you cannot do is get guys that are inexperienced to get into the postseason, and the moment becomes too big for them to handle. But otherwise, I think Craig Counsell deserves Manager of the Year. I think he won that out in San Francisco and winning that series, winning 3 out of 4 from the Giants. And I think there's some guys in this team that are going to get some recognition either for MVP or Cy Young.
No, it's been fun to watch, and we've been, it used to be years ago, and you've been around, Wisconsin for many a moon, and you've watched, the Packers have always been kind of the constant, minus the sporadic 8-8 season here, or the 4-12 season that was unexplainable, but they were always the constant, always we know we have Packer football, that gives us a chance. Now you have an NBA champion and a Brewers team that's playing lights out that could definitely bring home the World Series. So it's not a bad position to be in. We just need to get a victory maybe tonight.
And a Ryder Cup that gets underway this week.
I mean, what more?
We got a lot going on here that are good.
and it's still nice enough out for you to get your bike out. I saw you had a nice trip out there this weekend. Looks like a beautiful.
We had a great trip. It was a lot of fun, and the Northwoods of Wisconsin are beautiful. We did have a friend that was hit, and thank God he's okay. But it was a great week to ride. Had a lot of fun. Saw a lot of people. I can't get over how many people have converted from listening over the air to watching the show on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and all that kind of stuff. It still blows me away, but we got a good team that puts the audio and video together, and so it all works. But yeah, I can't get over how many people said, yeah, we watch you every day on YouTube.
Yeah, like, awesome. Do people work? Like, are you working? Like, I mean, I'm at work.
It's people in cars. It's people in cars.
See,
they're putting their phones on their dash. I'm like, don't watch it. Just listen. Just turn off the volume. Turn off the screen. Don't watch it. You're out there delivering Amazon Prime. Think of all the breakable stuff you got in the back that little kids aren't going to get for their birthdays because I said something stupid and you're watching me or Elmo Cam or something and you crash into a ditch, for God's sakes.
Safety first. Bill Michaels says safety first. Awesome. Well, congratulations, Bill. I know the show continues to grow, and I thank you for the shout out today on the program. I love but I love your studio though. I think you got the whole setup too. I think we're doing well.
This is actually, let me point out right here. These cans are commemorative cans. I keep them here for this year. I brought them out. Hudipole Brewing was from Cincinnati, Ohio. It was where my grandfather worked when I was growing up. And 75 and 76, the Reds won back-to-back World Series. And I've had them in my collection for a long time, and they have all the pictures of all the Cincinnati Reds and all their records on those cans. And I said, and you notice I've got Hank Aaron up here, Ken Griffey Jr. here. I got Euchre in the back. So I brought those cans out because I said to myself, when I saw this team start to play really, really good baseball and the pitching staff was spectacular all season long, I said, they may have a Brewers can up there very soon. That's the reason those cans are actually there. And nobody knows that but you.
I'm in the loop, and I'm in the circle of trust now.
There you go.
Awesome. Bill Michaels heard across the great state of Wisconsin on many great radio stations, and of course on Twitch and on YouTube and on Facebook Live every single day. Bill, it's always a pleasure, man. Enjoy the game tonight, and hopefully we'll be breathing at least a sigh of relief tomorrow after the outcome.
If not, the collective splash. Remember when you were a kid and you had a handful of gravel and you would throw it in the air and you hear it all hit together in a pond at the same time? That'll be every bridge and every piece of water, every body of water under the bridge later on tonight if the Packers lose this game.
Oh yeah, you'll hear it above the storms that are going to roll through them. Oh, that's just the people throwing gravel in the air and hoping that who do we play next week?
That's fans jumping in the river.
That doesn't take much. Bill Michaels, always a pleasure, my friend. Take care, and we'll chat soon.
All right, buddy. See you.
Awesome. There you go. Bill Michaels right there. Getting you all the inside stuff as we get ready for the big game tonight, Packers Lions Monday Night Football, and excited. I mean, Bill's always got a great perspective on stuff, and he's not wrong. I mean, I have an innate fear that this game doesn't turn out great, but that's just fandom. That's the homer in me going, man, if we don't crush them by 40 and prove that we're the top-rated offense in the league like we were last year, and if Aaron Rodgers isn't in the defense, but at the end of the day, there's still viable ways to make the playoffs. We're only about 2 weeks in, so it'll be good. Bill Michaels, thank you very much. Make sure you follow Bill on all of his socials as well. Got us a great job covering not just Wisconsin sports, but sports across the country. So good stuff. Always a pleasure to have him on. Joe, yes, it was awesome. Great chat today. Well, we've rambled on long enough today. We are off the show tomorrow. We're back on Wednesday. And then, Joe, thanks to you and your suggestion, Wisconsin gubernatorial candidate Jonathan Wickman is back on the show on Thursday afternoon by popular demand. So we'll get him back on. We'll probably talk some sports. We'll probably talk about pot. And we'll probably talk about the state of the state. So that stuff is awesome. Y'all have a great night. We will check you tomorrow or Wednesday. Have a great night. Enjoy the game. Peace out. Still sticky down here. I need that cold front to go through.